right. Welcome to the Federation X podcast. And tonight I am here with special guest, Shreddy Mercury, otherwise known as Eleazer The Prophet. Hey, welcome to the show. We're going to drink bourbon. You may be in for a special bourbon edition of the Federation X podcast tonight. How you doing?
I'm living the dream, man. Every day.
Every day. That's right.
Every day it's a new dream.
It's we've been talking about getting you on for a little while, and honestly, I'm really looking forward to this. We have so many things to talk about, but I really think we should start with the most pressing and recent news. So we got to get to it right away. Did you think you would see a day when we renamed Kitty quitting Benny quitting?
I didn't think it was possible. I thought it was, kind of sort of like a staple in the e-wrestling dictionary, but apparently we have a new entry.
It is functionally beyond belief to me that potentially the strongest tool in his tool belt, that being, as Gino would say, of the 5 tools, butthurt defense, went sideways. I didn't think anybody could get under Benny's skin. So that was a shocker for me. I got up this morning and that just, it went dead sideways for me. And of course, we've already got some friends showing up on the live stream, which is awesome to see. We've got a rest in peace call out to Benny Blair. I still have hope. Benny is unkillable. I think this is all a work.
I was just going to say, I think it's a work, man. It could be an incredible work. Job. Yeah.
I think we're going to find out 5 years from now that he and Lars set this whole thing up.
Bastards.
That's right. That's right. We'll see them and he'll be like, oh yeah. And then Lars came into the locker room and I said, don't be here when I get back from having a shower. It'll be the whole story all over again.
So much drama, man. It's like a male soap opera. It's like wrestling.
Yeah, it's just like wrestling. There you go. So, and then somebody chased Terry off the Discord feed. Now, that was kind of interesting timing.
Apparently Tony Robes, scared her off or made her Benny. I don't know. I mean, I came on this afternoon and there was all this hubbub, and yeah, I guess she's gone too. I don't know.
I just need to say this. Are we the only ones with a day job?
Yeah, I think so.
What is going on Discord that they're killing each other they have the time to kill each other during the day?
I mean, I'm seeing like 6:43 a.m. I got Max and Kansas Kid like, I'm like, how are you guys up? Are you going to work? But then at 9 o'clock, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I can tell you for sure. I saw Gino post at like 2 a.m. one day, and his next post was at 7 a.m. And I was like, did you just skip? Like, what are you, 14? You don't have to go to bed anymore? Like,
no curfew. I don't know. Either that or they're really bad at their jobs. I mean, who knows?
Well, I think that's, the last I heard, Gino's job was touching men. So, right.
You could go a lot of ways with that, I'm sure.
We sure could. Hey, so tonight we are going to dive into what I'm sure will be some really interesting topics. We're going to talk about just the way that e-wrestling has had an impact on the way we deal with this global pandemic, and we're going to get that perspective from you, a teacher who has to live in a different world for the last 10 months than ever before. And we're also going to talk about how technology is really impacting the game we've known for so long. I'm certain we're going to talk more about bourbon. You guys missed the pre-show conversation about what an infinity bottle looks like and how strange an experience it can be. And at some point, we're going to talk about the fact that you are a legitimate air guitar legend.
Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer. That's right.
Yeah. Take that, Tom Cruise.
That's got to be a more legitimate Hall of Fame than our fake online internet wrestler Hall of Fames.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, hey, you know, you get to it's like being in the WWE Hall of Fame and then being in like your uncle's backyard wrestling Hall of Fame. No
Hey, I
offense,
didn't even
but
get inducted into that. Like, I would have taken that.
talk about a Montreal screw job. Jeez.
All right, but before we go into all of that, let's just jump on a couple of things, and then we'll dig into a little bit about you and your character in the game. But before we really go through those things, what's your favorite angle going on the board these days?
You know, it's really it's crazy. And this could maybe segue into my character, you know, the Prophet, but um, the whole new breed now at war with the serious. No, I'm going to get this wrong. I just joined them and I can't even remember
The
the name
Society
of
of Serious Wrestlers.
it. Thank you. God, Kansas Kid
Got
is
you.
going to like, he's going to cut off my toe. Yeah, but like there's a war brewing. There's a legitimate war that's brewing, and it's cool. I like where it's going.
You digging that?
Yeah, it's very cool. You know, and a lot of you know, new blood has kind of come in, which has made things very interesting. You know, Axel Hendricks, you know, cool addition. You know, I'm sure we could talk about the Anus sisters, but I'm not even gonna touch that with Gino's schlong.
Right.
You know, but yeah, no, I dig the whole kind of war that's forming.
That's coming.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that should be fun, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be some entertainment value in that. Last time I looked, the breed are they? So there's Robes, Dawson,
Mhm. Axel
Axel. Is Chip in?
chips in. Yep.
Is the trophy wife still around?
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah. She's
Okay,
still.
and but also wasn't there a war buddy of Dawson's that came back?
Yeah. The Winter Soldier. I think
Yeah,
is that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I think that's what they
Like,
called him. Sure.
yeah.
So
Bucky Barnes.
so there's already 6 of them.
Hmm.
Um, so I know you, I know Benny. Is Crow in the society?
Both of them.
Oh, both Crows are in the society.
Yeah, but Kieran's I think he's a zombie now. So
Well, that's because he ate somebody's finger.
yeah, I mean it
Oh no,
happens.
he ate somebody's finger because a zombie bit him. Right. I'm back on this one.
Yes.
Right.
And wait, who else? And Jonas.
Oh,
Jonas
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I mean, it's we got a war, North versus South.
All right. That
I
should be
love it.
entertaining.
Yeah, and you know, look, I think the next step is to get into Max's ear and maybe woo him to our side of the fence
Do
to
you
get a little
think?
more.
All right, let's talk about Bill. Let's talk about Bill. He's not on the podcast. He can't
This is
hear
gonna
us.
take
Let's
too
talk about
long.
Yeah.
I'm not drunk enough, but let's go.
That's a big swing for him to come back to serious wrestling and stop being parody Max is a big swing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, even we could get into the Prophet's character, but even like what I'm doing with him now is totally different from
Yeah.
the past. So I like it though. It's
Yeah. Well, you're having fun. That's the thing. As long as you're having fun
yeah, I like
and
fun.
you're not Benny quitting, we're all good.
No, I like how that's a term now, Benny quitting.
Yeah, it's a thing. I think if you quit playing and you freak out on the Fed site, that's kitty quitting. But if you lose your shit on Discord, that's Benny quitting all the way.
Yeah, I agree.
100%.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's dig into the Prophet a little bit. And I think before we really dive into it, we should just get you to give us some background. Like, who is the Prophet?
It's it's crazy. I mean, how long have we been doing this for?
Oh my gosh. I have children who are full grown and moved out and should be married but aren't, who are younger than how long we've been doing this.
It's really insane. I mean, my memory goes back to probably 99. Is that too far? I don't know,
No,
maybe.
I don't think it is.
Um, I don't even know how I came into it. I was probably on a meth binge or something. I'm kidding, kids, don't do meth. That never happened. But no, I remember. I don't remember how or when, but it was with Captain All That was like my first encounter,
Yes.
and then there was Deathlock, and then there was Top Notch.
Yep.
So that was kind of like, and we tagged. I was his tag partner, for a while, and I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea how the transition went from there to FedEx, but next thing you know, I'm
So do
getting.
you remember, was that Captain All That in Cyber Brawls, or was that in Wrestle?
That was in Wrestle.
Okay. So
Yeah.
we met him in Cyber Brawls because we did a raid. We sent people out of our Fed into his Fed, and we brought back Captain All That, Chiata,
Oh gosh.
Hola Chico. I'm
My
gonna forget
favorite.
somebody. Like, it was such a good haul. Like, we went there and we came back and they were like, all our good writers are gone. Like, it was fantastic. And so then when Rousel and all that stuff really started to blow up and everybody transitioned over there, we all ended up in these different places, but we knew each other. So when Tim and I were putting Federation X together the first time, like, we went on a serious marketing campaign where we were reaching everybody going, hey,
We
this
grabbed
is where you're
everyone.
going to want to be. Right.
It was great. I mean, it was really great. Just the talent of writers, I
Yeah.
think, is what really made FedEx so great
Yeah,
back
I'll
then.
tell you, I think one of my big disappointments right now, just, kind of thinking through that and the talent of writers and the way that we saw them come together. We had a moment where we thought, hey, how amazing would it be if we could go out and just kind of do Viking ranks? We'll go play for 6 weeks in someone else's Fed and then see if we can bring some bodies back with us, like we had done ages ago in Cyberballs. And Gino, I think, was the first one who threw it around. I'm
Mhm.
disappointed that there aren't places that play the way we do, like with more writing, to make that
Yeah.
even a viable option. Like, even if nobody came back with us, that we can't go do that in any kind of effective exchange is, to me,
Yeah.
really disappointing.
I agree. I mean, I think writing plays such a huge. I mean, without writing, I just don't see the point of
Right.
of doing it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like playing Stratomatic without the
Right.
cards.
Yeah. I totally agree. And listen, if that's what you like, and no wonder you can all play 12 alts at the same time and be in 42 different feds, because you're writing 750 words, once or twice every 2 to 4 weeks. Like, we're writing 750 words once or twice a day, uh,
Yeah.
and usually more than 750, and we're telling a more encompassed story, I think. I'm generalizing a little bit, but based on what
Of
I've learned and
course.
seen, I think that's the way it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel, and that's the big, for me, that's the big, the big take from it is the writing. I mean, the writing piece, and just being able to kind of dive into so many different creative pools. I
Yeah.
don't know, for lack of a better term. It's just that's what really drives the whole joy of it, I guess.
Yeah. So tell us, like, how did you settle on Eleazer as your first character? Like, what made him him?
So my favorite wrestler of all time in any federation is Sabu. He is by far my favorite. And his whole, just his whole shtick, the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal maniac, doesn't talk, destroys his body. To me, that was just pure insanity. And to write a character with those qualities just seemed to be so cool to do. Like, the dialogue piece, is can be challenging if you're not in sync with who you're writing with,
Right.
because if it doesn't flow, it sucks. Like, you can't write jazz if you're not jazzing. you know You know what I mean?
Yeah, way to work that in.
See what I did there?
Yeah,
But no,
you're gonna have
it's
some fans for sure.
hey, I got to boost the ratings. But no, it's but I like the fact that I can I took kind of Sabu's persona and then let me tweak it to make it a little more interesting. And um, interestingly enough, I think it was during one of the Jewish holidays, and we were reading from one of the books, and there was a prophet, and his name was Eleazer. I'm like, how cool is that name? And thus the hardcore legend was born.
So, so let's say there's some players out there who haven't played with you for 20 years and don't know Eleazer and don't really understand how to sell them. What are the key things they need to know in order to sell them properly?
So is this pre jazz
Yeah,
or
let's say
post jazz?
pre-jazz, because
Okay.
I'm not sure jazz is going to catch on, you young kids and your music.
Oh, if it went down the wrong pipe, whew, I feel like Bill. Um, so I think, look, see how I kind of slipped that in there? That
Well
one's for
done.
you, Bill. Bill, when you watch this tomorrow, you'll love that.
That's right.
No, I think the prophet he's hardcore. That's what it comes. He is technically savvy in wrestling, but he is hardcore and just will pull out any measure to just keep a match going.
Right.
I kind of pride his character in selling whoever I'm going up against. You know, all every match. I mean, all of my I think best matches has really um, set up whoever I'm going up against to really take it to a level that they want to take it to, and I think that makes for good writing. And you know, he, I love the character because I think he's fairly easy to work with.
Right.
Um, you
He's
know,
accessible,
yes, yeah. I
right?
mean, anyone could really take him and go with him as a character if they wanted to.
Right. Yeah, I get that. So I think, as you're describing him and you're looking at that accessibility, and part of that's just, all you need to know is he's going to go hardcore. He's going to do some crazy stuff. There's a lot of that I would say if somebody asked me that question about Ed. So what really sets him apart when we're thinking like hardcore, tough as nails, blood, so what sets Eleazer apart from some of the other characters like Ed, who
Fuck
would
Ed.
point to those same things?
Well, he's not a dick like Ed is.
Isn't he though? I mean, he kind of is.
He kind of is a dick, yeah. But he does have a heart, and he
Okay.
does have a soul.
Ed doesn't have either of those.
No, Ed is
True.
a prick. I mean,
Yes.
let's there is no redeeming qualities about Ed at all,
Right. He's not
which
supposed to
makes him
have
an
any.
awesome. No,
Yeah.
and that's what makes him an incredible character.
Right.
But no, I think that while he's the prophet's absolutely insane, there's that kind of snide little sarcastic edge to him,
Right.
where he'll make a comment and people will be like, oh my god, that's a really funny comment, what an asshole. So
Yeah.
he's got that sort of personality to him, where he can be a little serious, all capital letters.
Yeah. Yeah. Serious. That's right.
Serious.
So was there a moment, and you talk about kind of playing with Cat and then, eventually finding your landing spot and come to Federation X. Was there a moment where you kind of looked at your character and saw the way others were playing off him and went, hey, the guy's made, like I could just show up with him whenever because he's over?
And I'm going to give credit to the legendary Gilgamesh, who the Prophet teamed up with, and they ran as a team for a while. And I felt like that's where he was kind of over.
Nice.
People were like, this character's legit. He's not like some mid-card Billy Kidman who's never really gonna make it, but is still kind of cool. but you're still Billy Kidman. Nothing against Billy Kidman, but you know. But no,
Billy,
I
if
think
you're
that,
watching this, we genuinely apologize. But if you're not, we don't.
yeah, we don't. And if you are, we still don't. Um, but no, I think that that's really where I kind of looked at the Prophet and was like, wow, okay, this is like a legit character where people, you know, are kind of talking off. I'm like, dude, this guy's fucking nuts. This is
Right,
great.
right. So it's interesting that you bring that up. Obviously, I've had the benefit of multiple variations of tag teams with Randy. Probably one of the more iconic ones is the Heroes with Nighthawk and Gilgamesh.
Mhm.
I'm not wrong, right? Like it's so much easier to be your character when Randy's involved.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I will give him all of the credit in the world. I don't know what it is. It's like some magic elixir that he drinks. I don't know, but yeah, he really just makes it um he makes it easy, but he also makes it enjoyable
Yeah,
and kind of leaves you this blank slate where it's like, all right, you know, I'm kind of setting you up. You can run with this in 46 different directions. So that's yeah. I mean, he really helps the process, for lack of a
100,
better way of describing it.
100%. Totally agree. And it's interesting because I think one of the next questions I was going to talk about was, your most notable tag teams. And of course, that didn't even hit my radar as the first one to go to, because aggravated assault is one of the ones I would go to immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Gilgamesh because that was like the first sort of,
Right.
but I mean, oh my gosh, Max and I just you can't stop us. We're just I'm going to be honest, like when it comes to just lunacy and writing, just pulling things out of like Lord knows what. I mean, it's working with Bill. I mean, it's scary how we're like on the same page so often because he's twisted and insane the way he thinks, and it's kind of scary for me that I'm on his page a lot of the time, which is
Should be.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's so fun. It's so fun
So,
having him.
so are there any others of significance, or is it kind of those two?
I think it was really those two, you know, because I don't think, you know, like the Prophet wasn't really a character where he would be like, hey,
Right.
let's be a tag team, or oh, we got to go, you know. He just kind of did his own thing, and somehow, you know, I kind of fell into, you know, obviously starting out with, you know, Cap and all that, you know, that was just, you know, to kind of figure out who my character was, and then working with Randy, you know, we just kind of meshed.
Right.
And then with Bill, it was just like, we're stupid idiots, let's just be really really stupid idiots together. So
Yep. Totally get it. Um, Has he had a particular title run that you would consider to be his signature run?
I mean, I think in FedEx version 1.0, I'll call it. I mean, I don't know how many times he had the blood sport,
Right.
you know, title. And I mean, it hasn't been passed around as much as it has in the last month or so, which is a whole nother conversation.
Right.
Um, but I think also the superstar title, I was the most proud of holding that belt because that I think is the most challenging belt to win and to hold, because that really showcases you as a great storyteller.
Right. And being in stride with your character at a particular point in time. And just to be clear, it's also the most difficult one to judge. Like people come
I'm
with
sure.
their very best game, and the weight on the judge to decide who wins it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite match of all time was a superstar title match. It was
Tell us about
against
it. Which
this.
one was it?
It was against this like superhero character named Nighthawk. Um, you know, it's like, hey, I have a Captain America shield. Look how cool I am. Dee, 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 dee. But no, I don't know if you remember it, but it was on like an aircraft carrier.
Oh, wow. I didn't until you said that.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was insane. There was so many things that went on, and honestly, just when we were going back and forth, it's like, okay, now where is this match going to go? Oh my God, they just went there. Like they can't do anything else. Oh my gosh, now they're going to be doing. It was just one of those matches where, it's like you think it's going to end, but it just kept going and going.
Right.
But it was organic. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like this is
Yeah.
stupid already. It was just, oh holy shit, this is an awesome match.
Yeah. Yeah. I really didn't when you first said it. And then as soon as you said the aircraft character, like all these things fired in my brain. I was like, oh crap, that match. Yeah. And that was a really good time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember probably 99.6% of my matches, but that is one that I will definitely remember.
Yeah, that was a good time and
Yeah.
and a great match. And honestly, I'm with you. I think, when you're on a superstar run, I mean, you don't get on one without really being in a good groove.
Yeah.
And while you're on it, it's hard to argue it's the best writing you're doing at any particular point, for sure.
Yeah, you're in the zone if you're holding that belt, and
You have to
not
be.
only holding it, but if you're defending it
Right.
successfully, you are in like some,
Yeah,
you're jazzing.
Shout out.
Shout out to my jazzers.
So just let's hold off for a second and talk about the fact that Kieran thinks it's great to hold the superstar title, but it's not quite the king of karma. Suck it is the official answer.
Yeah. Do you want me to do the official,
Yeah, would you? Yeah, give it to us. That's right. Just like that. It's all for you, Kieran.
Yeah. I still love you, Kieran, but suck it.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Also, he's not wrong, right? He said maintaining it ultimately ends up leading to burnout. Like you can only run at that level for so long.
Yeah. And then you'll probably kitty quit.
That's
Not
right.
Benny quit. You won't Benny quit.
Because that's only on Discord.
That's only on Discord, which didn't exist.
And I saw a comment earlier. No, and not Jake quit either, because that only happens when you're defending Twitter lesbians. All right. Biggest feud. Who's the nemesis that you've had the biggest run-in against?
Ed. I hate him. I hate Ed. But that's the biggest feud. No, I mean, I could be in the Ivory Coast having a coffee, and if Ed shows up, we'll destroy the place. He arguably the biggest feud.
Yeah, actually, that really brief, 2-post exchange just because we ended up in the Power Base's office at the same time was fun. It was good.
Yeah. And I wanted to leave it hanging. Like, you know what? It's still there.
Yeah, there will be more of this eventually. I totally get that. Yeah. Is there a post that you really felt like when you were done and you can remember it and you would point to it and be like, man, I knocked it out of the park. Like that post was just kick ass.
Jeez. There were so many. I mean, where do I begin? That's a tough question, man. Because again, I don't remember so much because I've been out of the game, for so long. But oh gosh, I think I had like a couple of crazy matches with Faith, and I think there was like, and I could be dead wrong, so please, Faith, jump in if I'm wrong. I think like I had Faith break my arm or something like that. It was one of those like matches. She would always stab everyone. She was such a, but I think like I think I had her like break the Prophet's arm during a match, and I wrote it, and I could be wrong. Maybe Faith wrote it or whatever. But I just remember like, holy cow, that's some crazy shit right there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Is there a character that you wish you'd had to run either with or against with the Prophet that you just didn't get to do it?
I gotta say, like, and I did engage with Ola Chico a couple times, but my gosh, that character, I wanted to, again, it's so out of like the Prophet's comfort zone. but my gosh, that would have been so fun. And I think that was like the first character who I met who I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
Yeah.
Which in turn led to present day where, there's a lot of jazzing going
There's lots of jazzing going on as a result. That's right. Um, so like, tell us, I mean, you obviously remember Federation X version 1. Um, how did you end up there? Do you remember how you got there? Like, what was the pull that brought you?
I think it was Notch. Notch was
Yeah.
like, hey man, because I don't know how he ended up. I think you might have probably recruited him because he was,
Ed and Bomber,
he was,
right?
yeah, and Bomber, yeah. And then he was like, hey man, check this out. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, this is a new thing. It'll be fun. Let's come and check it out. And, I came over and, I kind of like dipped my toe in the pool a little bit. And that's my second pool reference tonight. What the fuck is wrong with me? But yeah, and then it just kind of, ran from there. And, you see how the characters go. There were some wild characters like Old Harold. Oh my gosh. And
Old Harold, yeah, that was
I
crazy.
loved, yeah, who's the old woman?
Oh, that's right. There was one of each.
May,
That
not
might be
May,
right. May? Was it May?
maybe I can't remember for the life of me, but it was just such a different, it was such a different group of characters, and I was like, this is very cool. And the fact that there was a lot of writing involved, and there was the sim too, which was like a little bit different and cool as well. So,
Right.
it was
Yep.
yeah, it was cool. I just, yeah, and then, it just kind of ran from there.
Gotcha. Do you remember what ended your last run? Because I don't think you were among the final players, so something else must have been pulling you away.
I just think life kind of, real life took over.
Hey, this is
I
real to me, damn it.
Yeah, it's real to me. No, I mean, I think,
There you go.
we moved out of this New York City up to the burbs, and we had our first kid, and I was changing careers. I left my advertising career to go into teaching. Nice move, idiot. Um, but no, and I just think there was, a lot going on, and other things kind of happened. And what was great though is I still kept in touch
Right.
with, you guys,
Yeah.
and like, and that was kind of cool where, I still, I would, and I would go on and just be like, let me check out what
Right.
you guys are
What are you guys
doing.
doing this time? Right.
Yeah. What idiocy is going on now? Oh, okay. I'm good for the time being.
Right. I I think that there were a couple of moments too where we would say like, "Oh, come back and do this," and you'd be like, "I got time for two things on the weekend." You'd be like, "All right, let's do that."
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
was at least enough of that, and so I think yeah, that definitely helps. What did you like? Obviously, you were raising kids, you were learning a new career, but we would not be having a conversation with you if we didn't dive in and say, we know one of the things you filled your spare time with, and we want to talk about it. So why don't you tell us about how you became
Let
the
me
air
tune it up for
guitar
you.
Hall of Famer, Shreddy Mercury?
Honestly, man, it is. I mean, I need like a bottle of bourbon, perhaps, to tell the whole story. No,
Yeah.
I gotta get a refill soon. I'm out. Hey kids, go get daddy that really cool bottle of apple juice. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I'll give you the abridged version because I've told the story so many times. I was I was living in New York City, and we had time out in New York, and my friends and I would always look up like what concerts are coming up, and we saw Air Guitar Championships. What the blue hell is this?
Right.
And they were like, dude, you need to sign up for it. I'm like, what? Come on. They're like, dude, you're that guy at concerts who's always like, doing your, like, you got to do it. And I mean, honestly, I live for the stage. I love it. I mean, give me a mic and the rest is history. So I came up with a name. We were listening to Queen, and I'm like, dude, we were drunk probably. And I competed in New York. I came in like fifth out of four people probably. Um, but honestly, just it was so cool. It was so much fun. And it's sort of like kind of like how we are in this little fraternal order of weirdos and people of all walks
Yep.
of life. It's very similar to that, where I really met, I mean, my friend, he's a correspondent for, CBS News in New York. I have a friend who's a doctor out in, some other state. It's just people of all walks of life, shed their regular life and then put on their, other persona, very similar to what we do. But
Right.
this is where I'm standing on stage dressed in, you know, tight leather pants, air guitaring to like vomitory songs. So, it's similar. It's very similar, where it's like an escape from reality, which I think we all
That's
need.
it's such a cool thing, and I really, when you send links and you're like, oh, I'm doing it, I try and keep up on it because there's so much cool stuff over the years that you've done. And I, more than once I was like watching a video and my wife would walk in and go, what are you watching? Like, see that guy right there? And she's like, yeah, I know him. And she's like, that's, you shouldn't be impressed about that. I'm
I
like,
know I
come on,
am. I
look
know
at
that
this.
guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, that's so
honestly, man, it's so bizarre. I mean, I've like performed at venues where people in real bands are like, dude, fuck you, man. Like, we've been struggling for years and we're playing bars, and you're going up at like Irving Plaza in New York City playing nothing. I'm like, yeah, yeah. So it's just it's a really, it's a very, the community is just a really awesome group of people. I become really, really close friends with a lot of them. I mean, my friend, one of my best friends now, at his wedding, I air guitared his opening song when he and his wife walked down. I mean, so it's, yeah, it's just, it's really cool. But I look at it as, we all have jobs, at least I think we all do. And it's an escape, it's a
yeah.
cathartic release from your day to day, and it keeps you sane.
Yeah, and I think for lots of people it's something different. There are people that wouldn't get what we do.
Yeah.
I love that you do this. I think it's wildly cool. Do you remember when we had an idea and we were like, let's play like heavy metal uh, guys who are in wrestling? Do you remember that we flirted with that for like 5 seconds?
Yes, it was like a flash in the pan, and I was like, yes, this is great, this is awesome, let's do it. This is, and then, you know,
Yeah, great idea, zero execution.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was the problem. It was like a Gino idea.
Ouch.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong.
No, I'm definitely not wrong about that. So what's next for Shreddy Mercury?
There's nothing. I mean, look at where we are right now, to be honest.
I
Um,
assume that like the community though can't have just folded up and gone, oh well, like they must be doing some stuff. Are you
well,
participating in anything?
yeah, I mean, they do a weekly podcast every Saturday night. It's called No Strings Attached.
Clever.
Um, it's on Twitch, and it's run really well. A lot of the people who are in the community are very, very talented. Videographers, online people who do
Right.
stuff to make things look good. Yeah, so I mean that's going, and last year we were supposed to have the finals in New York, and obviously that got canned. So
Right.
we actually had an online competition where people would send in their videos of them doing their routines, and we had a panel of judges, I was on it, to judge what we saw. So it's still going. Obviously in today's world there's not much you can do in person, but we're still doing it
Right
as
on.
best as we can.
Right on. And before we leave the topic, what's your highest finish in the championships?
2008, I went to the US finals. I represented Brooklyn, New York, and I finished fifth overall in the US. That was
That's
my
awesome.
that was my best. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So
really good.
yeah, but there's a whole other story that I would need so much time to get into. So my birth name, Seth Leibowitz, one of my friends decided to perform as a new character, and he performed as Seth Leibowitz. So if you look up air guitar Seth Leibowitz, you're going to be so confused to the point
Because
where
it's
my
not
mom,
you.
because it's not me, to the point
Yeah.
where my mom called me and was like, "Oh my gosh, I just saw on the news that you won a competition in San Francisco." And I'm like, "No, mom, that wasn't me. That was Seth Leibowitz who won." And then she goes, "I don't understand anything," and she hung up on me. So that's a whole nother being John Malkovich sort of conversation.
I love it.
But yeah,
Well, we could have your mom on an interview, or I think that'd be amazing.
yeah, she's great on the mic. So yeah, she'll love it.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more. Let's go back to FedEx. What's been your favorite part of the relaunch so far?
I just it's the Discord. I'm going to be totally honest. The connection that we all have now, the constant, we're not on AOL chat anymore, which
Right.
I'm going way back.
Yeah.
Where we would be like, technology has made obviously the communication between everyone so much better, but even what is the Tappa Talk? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's right. The host site, sure.
That's kind of cool because I'm terrible with HTML. I don't really want to spend my time changing the color of the file. Come on, guys. Like, I applaud you who do it, but I just got to get my thoughts on paper and get it on,
You understand that I just told Word, when I write this, put this in.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do. It's not like bold font, unbold font,
Right.
insert, but no, the fact that you can really spice up your posts, and
Right.
that's been really great. And just seeing a lot of the old characters kind of coming back in, and seeing all the old guys returning, and some of the new, the new people have been really cool.
Yeah.
I've never encountered the Tony Robes before until now, and he's an interesting
Yeah,
guy.
no, I think I've shared this before. I think Tony Robes is the most interesting second tier player I've ever seen.
Yeah. I mean, it's very cool. It's cool, and I just cannot wait until we find out who these anus girls are, because it's
Come on, I think we know, right?
I have my own ideas.
Come on,
I think everyone.
Who do you think they are?
Well, there's been a lot of things thrown around that it's been you, and I'm like, there's no way that Jeff can write just this filth.
Right.
And it's a credit. It's not your move, and it's a credit to you. Like, it is so, like, I know you can go out of your wheelhouse and you can go out of your comfort zone, but this is like dropping you in like Iraq during the war with like wearing a Speedo. Okay.
Right.
It's not
awkward.
Awkward. Yeah. We haven't seen a lot of excess lately, have we?
It's interesting.
And I'm kind of looking to see, like, because Terry's been the only one on Discord, and I'm kind of looking to see, okay, well, when she's writing, who's not on? Like, who's not online? And then, it's like, oh, okay, it can't be that person, but is it that person? I don't know. So I don't know. I think it's excess. I don't know, man.
So I heard an interesting theory, and I'll give it some credence. I heard a theory that these are open characters, that the original boners are just rotating whenever they want to write.
I mean, that's a valid. So it's just like, hey, go, hey, I'm going to do a Terry post real quick.
Right.
Oh, I was going to do it. All right, you go ahead and do it. I'll do a Tory post.
Right.
I mean, the writing is.
So that's an interesting theory. I'll tell you a couple of things I noticed real quick, though. Terry, there was no indication, no background, no anything to be like, I'm from Scotland. And as soon as we started ribbing Robes about being from Scotland, he was like, Scotland. Suddenly Terry comes out and she's like, I'm from Scotland. Like, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like lay up. Here you go.
Right.
Um,
Absolute troll city, which,
but this is what I'm thinking. So today, Benny quit,
right.
and all of a sudden, Terry's like, you know what? I'm getting off Discord now because Tony, you're mean.
I'm with you.
I don't know, man.
I'm surprised they didn't both just go at once.
But you know what I've been waiting. I've been waiting for like whoever it is to like mess. I'm waiting for them to mess up.
Right.
You know what I mean? To like if they're doing like two at one time, like I don't know. Do you have like, okay, hold on. I'm wait. Who am I on this one? Who am I on this computer and who am I on my phone? Wait, I'm waiting for that. But you know what I'm saying? Like for someone to mispost, like. But yeah, man, I mean, credit to credit to whoever's pulling this off because I know it's been the talk of the boards, so to
Right.
speak.
I'll say it again. You can't spell terrific without
Without
Terry.
Terry, I've been saying it all along, man. You know, I mean, their posts are just disgusting. I mean, I have a sick and they're just like I had to like Google some of this crap that they're writing. It's like
That's a dangerous thing to Google.
Yeah, I did not use my work computer.
Good choice.
Yeah.
I hear that there's a
I'm not
debate
even looking
now.
at the chat.
Are you seeing the chat? They're talking about what stuntman's anus name should be.
Stuntman cult anus. Oh my god. Stunt anus cult?
Yeah.
Can't spell anal without Alan.
He's not wrong, but we had that character already. That was the what was it? Was it the gay C-Slam universe? And we were invaded. It was Anal Alan Scott. Yeah, we don't need to revisit that. It was a train wreck.
Yeah, I think that one should be left in the grave.
That's right. Hey, is there anybody who hasn't kind of come back to play yet that you're looking around going, hey, where are you? Like, you need to be here.
I mean, and I know Randy's running with his characters, but gosh, Gilgamesh was such a great character.
He really was.
And as and I get that it's hard to run a lot of characters at one time, but goddamn, I hate him to death. But man, the world needs Acid Ed. He's such a dick. Like everyone needs a dick.
So
he is like a dick.
That's fair, and he's actually so easy to write that you can just kind of drop a post, and you don't have to get it rolling or have any momentum.
I'll write it for you. Hey, I'm gonna be a dick. Here's Ed's post. Put it up his head, and it'll be him cursing at someone, kicking someone in the face, and then calling someone a shithead.
Yeah, kick a puppy, spit on a baby, punch the wife in the face.
End post. Send. Done.
It's the greatest end post ever written.
Rinse, repeat. Rinse, repeat.
Well, I think what we'll do is I'll send you a message and we won't warn anybody, and we'll just declare National Beatdown Day and see who can do more beating people down posts in a day.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to take the day off for that one. Guys, day off means you have to work a job to request a day off. So,
are you explaining that for some of our listeners? That's very kind of you.
Yeah, I mean, I just want clarity is always a good thing to have.
Yeah. Who's the character? I mean, I know you said Ed earlier. Is there another character you just really hated?
Yeah, Acid Ed. I really hated that guy a lot.
Double down on that one.
I mean, I hated Danny back in the day, and I hated Faith. They were just they were so annoying were annoying, and it has nothing to do with like they were women. It was they were just so annoying. I don't know. They just pissed me off.
That's
they were great. They were great to work with, but I hated them, and you were supposed to hate them.
Yeah, I think that's right. Is there somebody else's character that you really love?
I loved Ola Chico, and I'm gonna bring him up again because it was so, and again, this was like the first introduction to what I guess now is jazzing, but it was just like this mindless, you know, cataclysm of words that sort of made sense, but you kind of had to read it closely to kind of piece the puzzle together. And it usually ended up with him in a Wienermobile, which was great. Remember the Wienermobile? That was his thing. But oh god, I loved his character so much. It was so great. And now in our current kind of world, I love like all of these, you know, kind of characters. I wasn't familiar with the Boner Force because that kind of came after I left, and you
It's funny
know,
you should phrase it that way.
oh, came because it's their boners
After you left.
after, right, carry the one. But like just that whole ridiculousness. I mean, it's great, but the fact that like I'll take the Kansas kid who honestly, and I'm gonna swell his head so he won't be able to walk through his bathroom door. But my gosh, how he just flips, you know, from serious to jazzing.
Did you
Serious.
catch the early posts where he was dealing with brain damage and sometimes he was in full jazz mode and sometimes he was drugged and like actually Billy Prescott? Like that was so brilliant.
It was brilliant, and it's yeah, it's like word salading. Did I say that right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and I'm reading the chat, but Tim made a great point. Samite, he jazzed too. I think,
No.
and yeah, Matt Hollerman just said Samite might have actually invented jazz.
I mean, it goes way back.
It does. So I agree. I mean, because yeah, Samite was again, you're like you read it and you go, where's my decoder ring? I have no idea
Right.
what's going on.
Let me put the pieces together.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So before we dive into our main topic,
Okay.
who do you want to see on the podcast that hasn't been on?
Not Bill. I mean, come on, man. I love you, guy, but we get it. You know, although I will say the Max, what was the thing he did?
Oh yeah, the floating head. I forget what he called it. Was it?
Oh my gosh. Pee Wee's guys,
Yeah,
chat, help
somebody
me
will
out
pop
here.
it up.
Yeah. That was brilliant, whatever he did.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say Benny, but you know, he quit.
I kind of want him
No,
on
man.
more now that he's Benny quit it.
Yeah.
Like I would have popped you off tonight if he'd stood up and said, "I'm on. I want to yell about Lars." I'd have been like, "Sorry,
And
man."
I would have been totally fine with it.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, Max Holio. Thank you, Max
Right.
Holio. That's who he was.
Happy
I
for our
don't know
backup team.
who would I want. I don't know. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, it's like an open. You know, it's really kind of open to everyone. Someone new, maybe like one of the new people.
I'd really like to have Terry Anus on.
Me too. I think everyone would like to have not her anus, but her.
Right. That's
And
her
her
name.
sister.
Don't be
And her
rude.
sister. I know.
Sure.
I apologize.
They can both come on.
Serious question. Do you think that Terry and Tori are the same person? Like, is it the same person that's doing
So the
things?
level of posting means that's not impossible.
Yeah.
I pay attention, obviously, doing kind of heat scores, just paying attention to that, figure stuff out for rankings and stuff. And one of the things that stands out is often one of them is significantly active when the other one is only a little bit active.
And then
So,
it switches.
yeah, it's not impossible.
We need like Sherlock Holmes on this because and the other thing I wanted was how long is this gonna go until we find out, you know? I don't know.
So here's the thing. They're getting heat, they're getting titles, and they're getting run. There's no reason to stop this train from rolling.
No, I know. It's like, yeah, they're getting so much heat.
Right.
And I don't get it. And I mean, personally, look, as someone who speaking from the prophet's mind, I'm so annoyed that this Terry Anus has had the Bloodsport title. I'm livid.
More than once have I looked at that and gone, maybe I should be playing Ed right now.
And yes, I'm like, where is fucking Ed to come in, like break her tibia, kick a puppy, spit in a child's, baby bottle and say, screw you all, I'm going home.
What's the move? You just wrote the second best Ed post of all time.
You give me Ed's login. I'll take care of it.
I got you. All right, so let's dive into the big topic, because you threw out some really interesting topics, and I think
Sure.
they both merit us diving into them. So I said, hey, we're going to talk about both of them. Let's start with this. E-wrestling helping people deal with this global pandemic. I thought that was such an interesting, when I said to you, hey, is there something you really want to talk about? And you're like, well, we could do like just the rebirth, but more than that, it's like why the timing of it was so important, why it's actually helped people in the midst of what's been pretty crappy year for a lot of people. So just tell me, like, where are you coming at this from?
I mean, for me, it's been a horrible year. I mean, I actually had COVID back in last year, like back in April. It sucked. It was horrible. Thankfully I'm okay for right now, but I mean, I still have some like foggy COVID brain at times. Like I'll call the microwave the dishwasher. My wife is like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, are you smoking heroin again? I'm like, no, COVID brain, but that can only go so far. But I think that it's taken such a toll on so many people. And like for me, obviously I'm teaching, so that's keeping me very busy.
Yep.
But like, it comes down to needing that escape, and that like cathartic, like, oh my gosh, do I drink a half a bottle of bourbon or do I go on and write a post about how I'm jazzing? I see.
Right.
I'm plugging the kid so much. Kid, I want to thank you in the comments, but I think that it when this sort of when FedEx like the reboot, me personally looked at it as, yes, this is a perfect way for me to not only get away from my own kids for a while, but to kind of like escape everything, but also to kind of get my creative juices flowing a bit,
Right.
and which I felt have been dormant for a while.
Yeah.
And that bothered me a lot because, I would sit and even like, writing like, reports for school. I mean, my reports were always top notch, pun intended, just because writing has always been a big part. But I found like, oh my gosh, I can't even write anymore. This is terrible. So that has, helped in a lot of different ways, I think, for me personally.
I don't think you're alone, right? I think, we look back and we go, hey, in 2016, Maverick reached out to me and said, we can do this again. Let's launch this again. And it sputtered and died trying to get momentum. What was different about this time that suddenly it was really going to work? And I think one of the things that prompted it, other than, it really helped that we were doing podcasts so that there was some real connection going on. But also part of the timing was we were 7 months into a global pandemic, and people were feeling a lack of community in general. They weren't having social interaction. So the podcast started to provide that. And then the Discord really blew that up. And a lot of people had been without some of their creative outlets. And suddenly this idea like, well, let's just putter around on the boards and see, maybe we'll post twice a week. Man, that lasted for like a day. And then you blinked and you're like, oh, there were 40 posts in the last 3 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really does seem to be a timing thing that this was, I don't know, that everybody immediately was like, oh, thank God COVID was killing me. But I think in retrospect, there was a real appetite to have that reconnection and creative outlet.
And I think, and you mentioned like that 9 months. I mean, I think, it came to a point where, winter winter is coming, winter is here, and obviously you have, seasonal depression that, comes into place. I know in Canada it's winter all year round for you,
Oh
but
yeah.
that's a whole different story.
I don't even understand what you're talking about. Is there a different season?
Yeah, well, it's crazy because like in July, like I know you guys get like a foot of snow. Here it's like hot.
All you need to know is the North remembers.
Isn't there like there's a song Northwest Passage? Isn't that like a very big song in Canada
Oh
or
yeah,
something?
it used to be our national anthem, but then we replaced it.
Yeah, it's probably a smart move. But but no, I mean I think that, 9 months into this, like you said, global pandemic, people were losing their jobs, people were losing friends, to
Right.
the to and I think that the timing was perfect because holidays were coming up. People were like, ugh. And I just think it happened at the right time. So I think I like you said, yeah, we'll see what happens, and then you wake up in the morning, 60 posts. It's like,
Right.
okay,
There is no limit to your options as a creative outlet right now. The boards, they wax and wane, but I think last week was 160 something posts in a week. Like
that's
I,
insane.
I haven't seen that since 2010.
That's insane. I mean,
Right.
and my hope though is that I hope it keeps the proverbial train keeps rolling, which
Right.
I think it is because I
Well,
think
listen, we recently had Law Martin join. I think that's such a great addition. Um, you know, I mean, Colt's around if anybody cares, right? So
Colt, I know you're on the boards, you know.
Jake Price came back. I was happy to see that. His Jakey
Yeah,
quitting was just not the same. I wasn't impressed by it.
it doesn't have a good ring to it. Jakey
No,
quit.
right. It's not the same as Benny quitting.
No, Benny
Like
quitting
that
is
just
like
kind of rolls right off. Yeah.
Benny quitting. Benny quit. It's like a banquet, but not really.
The banquet of sadness. Hey, so let me jump because we talk about community being a big part of this, and the
Sure.
fact that it was really cool to get to reconnect as part of this, not just to get to write, but to get to reconnect. And I've been wondering this. We've had a little bit of time to kind of look around at other Discord channels and other eFeds and stuff. Do you think that their groups are as tight knit as ours? Do you think their groups could survive the abuse we heap on each other and still like be friends and hug each other when they meet in real person?
No. I mean, I honestly, there we are a bunch of sick and oh, hold on, I have to give your hat back according to Mr.
Oh my
Jason Miller.
gosh.
Here.
My hat's not even with me. I got a red one, a Trekker cap. Do you want me to put that one on?
Yeah, I mean, when in Rome, right? Let's get weird.
Yeah.
But no, I think and it's interesting because like I didn't know Discord from anything. And when I was posting, I'm like, what Discord? I'm like, what the hell? What is this? So I figured it out. I logged on and I'm like, oh, so it's like the old AOL chat, but more streamlined and much easier to use, and it's more funner. But no, but I think, and it's really cool because look, there's so much ridiculous talk that goes on, and I think like if anyone from the outside would just sort of peek in for 5 minutes in the what is it, the boner not safe for work
Yeah.
room, they would last 2 minutes because they would either be extremely confused, extremely offended, or both.
Or definitely both.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, I thought it was interesting, right? I mean, we obviously saw a little poked around on Twitter, stirred the hornet's nest once or twice. And one of the things I realized is like people will kind of sort of come to each other's defense, but I wonder if they like each other the way that we like each other.
But so, serious question, if I could be serious for a
You should
minute,
be serious.
because I am in the Society of Serious Wrestlers now. I'm so excited. I hope I get like a koozie or like maybe a coffee mug, that says Saswa, is that it?
Awesome.
Soswa. Um, so I mean, some of these guys I've kind of, just really gotten to know, but I've fallen into the ranks rather quickly just because
Sure.
I'm one of the most lovable people in the world. But you read some of it and it's like, gosh, like, do they really hate Tony Rhodes? Or is this just, but I mean, you have to like,
You can have a moment where you're not sure.
there's been a couple of moments where it's like, no one likes Tony Rhodes. Like I get he's playing the heel, but like, dude, like if we were gonna hang out in like a bar, would someone like break a pint glass over your face just because like, what, Tony Rhodes, I really fucking hate you. I don't know. But in general, generally speaking though, it's a night, it's a community,
It is.
and it's hysterical.
It takes very little, and I've said this for years, very little to get in with our group other than thick skin and creativity.
Yes. Very, very thick skin.
Oh yeah. Right. I mean, Eric is our world champion. He has taken more crap than anybody I know. Benny serenaded him to a song called Wheelchair Eric, and now he's on our live stream talking about the fact that he's going to sell Wheelchair Eric merch. So, I mean, if he can roll with it, all of you can roll with it.
And I think also, yeah, I mean, you obviously have to have very thick skin, but you also need to kind of get it. There's like a, you kind of have to see what's going on and say, oh, I get it. This is what we're doing.
Right. Right.
And it's not for everyone,
No, it's not for everyone. And it's definitely not for people who have a thin skin or
like Benny.
Are in character right up until the second where they realize, I don't like what you said. And then it's not in character. You're a bad person because it's not the character you're writing that's a bad person. It's you. Like, screw you. I got no other.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's transition. Let's talk about the other thing you said, which is, man, technology is really impacting this game that for us started just as a online text game, right?
Yeah. Like Zork. Remember the game Zork?
Right. You betcha I remember it.
Yeah.
I was good at Zork.
I was great at Zork. It was like playing Zork. Yeah.
Right. So
and now it's
yeah. What to you is the biggest technology change that is really
I think the way that we stay in, I mean, like Discord obviously is a huge boon. Just to obviously just to keep in touch and to throw storylines back and forth before posting and to say, hey, I posted your turn, or to say,
sure.
Terry, I heard you like eating salads, and I'm sorry, like, to the Kansas kid, I'm sorry that like he and her, like they were something was happening, it's but it's
almost like she really knew him.
I see what you did there. It was like very like subtle, but not subtle at all. You know what I mean?
I work both angles.
No, you do. It was perfectly like subtly unsubtle. But no, going back to your comment, I just think that even the site itself. I mean, the way that we can post it's obviously it's easier, for us older, guys. Not that we're idiots and not tech savvy, but I just think it's easier for us, and even the sim. I mean, the sim, even though it still sucks. I mean, I'd love to figure out the algorithm, but whatever. You and
it is currently legitimately 50-50, although that 50-50 changes. There is a cross-reference table. I'll tell you guys how it works. The character type you choose has 3 match types that it gets you a bonus in. a big bonus, a medium bonus, and a small bonus. 3 match types. It has 3 match types that it gets you a penalty in. Big penalty, medium penalty, small penalty, depending on the character you choose. And of course,
Okay,
your
let me write this
opponent's
down. Hold on.
character also has those bonuses or penalties depending on the type they chose. And so it adds up all the penalties and bonuses to figure out your odds of winning, and then flips a coin. And on it, there is a tool where if we wanted to play the way we used to play, we'd go in and put in your heat score, and your heat score would increase or decrease your ability to win based on how active you'd been. We've turned that part of it off because we all agreed we want it to be basically 50-50. But if you fight Eleazer the Prophet in a street fight, the odds are going to be against you because I guarantee you he's a hardcore fighter or a dirty fighter. Those are the only 2 options that make sense.
So we can change our characters if we want to, right?
You can.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Can
So there you go.
Change
the secret of the sim revealed.
algorithm.
That doesn't explain why you might wrestle 5 standard matches and go like 1-4.
All right, let me put that down. Algorithm on sim still sucks. Got it. Okay, cool.
Got you.
Duly noted.
All right. So I saw some comments kind of rolling through, and I think all of them were really interesting ones. You know, what were the advantages? I think one of the things Law pointed out is true. We started playing at a time where the idea that you and I could sit and podcast like this and be live streaming it at the same time and interact with our friends all over North America and across the sea, who were like at home making comments on Facebook, like all of that coming into one microcosm is pretty amazing. Yeah.
And it didn't exist. And
Right.
I think to that point, you know, think about how much has changed since we first started doing this to now.
Right.
It's remarkable. It really is.
It really is. I think the interesting thing also that's out there, so the Discord's a big one. I will tell you this. I think the Discord is a big one for those of us who already know each other. If you just look in our Discord, it is not a landing space for new players. That's a huge mistake for us. We should not let new players go to the Discord until they are 3 months hooked on playing in our game. I think it's all kinds of dangerous.
I agree with you, because if you go into the boner banter, you know, you're like, okay, not for me.
Right.
Colt makes a great point. Where do I buy wrestle bucks?
Colt, if you just want to do a bank transfer to me, I'll look after that for you.
Is there a currency like change, or is it whatever you know what I mean? Like,
oh, we make the game in Canada, but like Ice Hog, we only accept US funds. Also, hey, just for the poll, a live stream poll for everybody at home, was Ice Hog just no warning shutting down Wrestle the biggest kitty quit ever?
Or was it? It wasn't a Benny quit,
right? Because those only happen on Discord,
right? Benny created a whole new. He created a whole new.
Yeah, that's how Benny rolls. He doesn't like to parrot other people. He's not named Tony.
He's a He's a revolutionary.
That's right.
I think it's a work. I agree with you, though. I think it's a work.
Yeah, it's the Montreal screw job all over again. Lars is in on it. I have no doubt.
Oh, yeah. I agree.
Okay, so we're going to slowly wrap this down, because I think we've got a couple of interesting conversations wrapped up in our top fives. So let's transition to them, and let's start with this one, because I think the last one's the most interesting one to me. We're going to do 2 top fives because we had a couple of conversations, and I think they're both worthwhile. And the first one we're going to do is your top 5 favorite wrestlers all time.
This is like real, not EFED. We're talking real.
Right.
All right. It's interesting, like you brought this up, because I have we call ourselves the 4 horsemen, but I'm like the 5th wheel. And we go to, like wrestling events here, and we're just like total wrestling. And we always have this conversation, and it constantly changes. So today, my top 5.
Okay.
Not in any order. Not in any
Okay.
order, because that's way too hard. Sabu, hands down.
Yep.
The Rock,
Yep.
The Ultimate Warrior,
Wow.
The Nature Boy,
Naturally.
and see, this is where I like run between this is the hardest one, because those four are usually like staples with me.
Okay.
And the fifth is like a constant. Man, I got to. It's hard. I got to go with Sting.
Wow.
I got to go with Sting, and I'm talking like the good Sting.
Yeah. I'm with you. Not
You know what
out
I mean.
of shape, late life, built like Gino Sting. I'm with you. I get it. I know what you're talking about.
But like tomorrow, Sting could be out, and I could go with like the Iron Sheik. I mean, my gosh.
Oh, old school. I got you.
I mean, it's hard. It's a very hard question, but
Yeah. So I'm going to go 5 as well, but I'm going to tell you right out of the gate. One of mine's a tag team because I can't
now,
skip
do they
them.
count as one or two?
Yeah, they
Because
count as one.
I kind of want to take back Sting now.
Yeah. See.
But I'll let you go. You go first. Go ahead.
All right. So Bret Hart,
He's usually up there. Yeah. Okay.
Ricky Steamboat,
Excellent.
Randy Savage.
Another. I mean, I can't argue any.
By the way, mine are in order. I went 5, 4, 3.
Okay.
Number 2 for me, the Road Warriors.
See, if I knew I could pick a tag team, I would pick the Road Warriors.
And I think Ric Flair is the greatest wrestler of all time.
I can't. You can't make that argument that he's not.
Right? It's hard to argue against. He's the champ. I mean, listen, if I could figure out a character and I could get myself in a position with the world title where I could just constantly lose but get to keep the belt, like I think that run in the 80s where he won like 4 matches in 12 years was awesome. He was the world title like had never lost the belt.
Forever.
Lost all the time though.
But no one questioned it.
It was so good.
You couldn't question it though. No one was like, "Wait a minute, guys. He lost, but he still has the belt. That's not fit."
And they did such a good job though. It was always so believable. Like, do you remember they would get him in like tag team matches or something, and somebody like Ricky Morton would pin him in the tag team match, and then they would hype that Ricky was going to get a title shot. And you're like, this is Ric Flair, and that's Ricky Morton. Like, really? And they would tour to do the Great American Bash in all those cities. And they'd be like, oh, and in Baltimore, he's going to fight Road Warrior Hawk. And you're like, well, there's no way he can take Hawk.
Hawk's going to win the title?
No, he's not. And you'd be like, what happened? Well, the 4 Horsemen came in and beat him up, and Flair got disqualified. Flair would go out on stage the next day and be like, I owned you. And you're like, what? Like, it was just so good. So good.
I think that's and that right there is what makes this wrestling thing that we love. It's just it's storytelling, man, and it doesn't have to make sense. That's what's so great about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I don't even really want to get off this top 5. I'm so interested. So let me ask you this. We're going off the rails. We're doing top 5s. Top
Fine.
5 finishing moves that are like looking back, like in the modern day, they couldn't have been a finishing move, but in the old days, you were like, man, that's a badass move.
Wow. I mean, I want to say like Superfly, Snukas.
Yep.
Unless
he was doing it off the top of a cage, in which case.
Yeah. I mean, like Shawn Michaels' Sweet Chin music as a finisher.
How about Ricky Steamboat? It was just a flying body press.
Yeah. Really? Diamond Dallas Page's Diamond Cutter?
Oh, we're
Really?
anti-DDP now.
I
Wow.
love, look, I love DDP.
Yeah,
I
me
love
too.
him to death. But as a finisher,
Yeah, Colt says, what about
um,
Hogan's leg drop? Like it's a leg drop.
you know, and we could go into what was Scotty Two Hotties, the worm, and then the
Oh
karate
yeah.
chop finisher.
Uh, I don't know if how many of you would go back far enough to remember this. Does anybody remember Ivan Putski, Polish
Yes, the
Power?
Polish Power.
Polish Hammer just hit somebody in the chest, and the assumption
That
was
was
he was
it.
so strong they were done.
That was it. That, yeah. I mean, it was ridiculous. Wait, who else had a ridiculous? What
I mean,
was
wasn't Warriors
Brutus?
was functionally just a body slam and then a splash.
No, but didn't I want to go with Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Didn't he have like a horrible finisher?
Before
I
the
can't,
sleeper hold, because he didn't
before the
have the
sleeper.
sleeper hold until he had that match with Adrian Adonis at WrestleMania 3, right?
He, yeah, I can't remember what it was. This is killing me right now. I'm gonna have to look it up. But it was I mean, going back to like, the 80s wrestling, there was, I mean, didn't like,
Baron von Raschke's claw, or is that the Von Erich Iron
that's
Claw?
the Von Erich.
Yeah,
Let's
you would think
call
it's
this
the Von
correctly.
Erich, but you never know when they're going to die. So,
Yeah, the mandible claw, I agree with Axel. It's the dumbest thing ever. However, the mandible claw is not the Von Erich claw. It's
correct.
completely different. So, oh yeah, heart punch. Seriously,
Rikishi stink face. I mean, that does actually sound pretty terrible.
that's such a boner force move, though.
It is. It's totally boner force.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Bronco Buster comes up. Can we just all laugh at X-Pac for that? Nothing about that was a cool move.
Yeah, I mean, you mean Six or the 1-2-3 Kid? I can't keep up with all of his.
Right.
Yeah, that's just really that's your finisher. Yeah, that's I'm not even gonna go with what Axel
No.
just said in the comments.
Yeah, you gotta
'cause
let
it's-
Axel just slide right by. We can't be talking about murder.
Yeah. Oh, good. Meng, remember Meng's claw? That was another terrible one.
Yeah, there were some genuinely pretty bad ones. Am I remembering it wrong? Was somebody had a bear hug as their finisher?
It was the natural disasters, wasn't it? Like earthquake or typhoon, one of them.
That might have been.
Or am I completely wrong? I mean, the Great Muda, had the red mist.
I love that.
And then Tajiri had the green mist.
Right.
We could also flip this conversation and say, okay, well, obviously the worst ones, the Anusi herpes face. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, so like on the flip side, what are the greatest finishing moves of all time?
So
Three.
I know this is,
we could go with three.
So I know this is old school, but was there anything cooler than watching Macho Man do the flying elbow?
None at all.
It was awesome. And you always, even though you knew that they knew what they were doing, did you not think the guy taking it was always like, Randy, you're buying dinner tonight? Like this, this cannot not hurt.
I will say one of my favorite and the Iron Sheik's
camel clutch.
Finisher, the camel clutch. It was so ridiculous, but like when he locked that in, you're just like, I just remember being like, oh my gosh, he's gonna break his back. He's gonna snap his, like, for me, I'm like, that is the coolest thing in the world. That was so cool.
Yeah. I'm with Tim on this. I love the way Arn Anderson's spine buster looked.
The spine buster? Oh yeah.
It always looked really good. Right.
As ridiculous as it is, and as like probably one of like the worst. You can classify this finisher as one of the worst of all time, but also as the best. The Rock's finisher was so ridiculously pitiful, but my gosh, when he,
Yep.
And
he created a whole story out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone popped for that crap. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Hardy's Swanton, that's another sick finisher.
Listen, I'm a sucker for I love the boss, the camel clutch. I think the figure four is like, there's a reason Flair went with it, right? First of all, your opponent can reverse it, so you can use it to tell the story from either side. It's not some special move that you have to be able to do, like flying elbows or off the ropes or things. Everybody can kind of, so there's always the chance your opponent shows you up and uses it. And there's the psychology of submission that I just think is so good.
Like, is he gonna like, yeah, the whole like checking, raise, are you gonna tap out? No, and trying to get to the rope and then Flair lock. Yeah, no, that's definitely, yeah. I mean, and it's obviously there's been so many variations of these finishers over the years, like, but yeah, I mean, there are just like I agree with you. The Macho Man elbow off the top rope.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember exactly where I was when he put Ricky Steamboat out with the ring bell. Right? And I remember where I was for Saturday night's main event when he was fighting George the Animal Steel, and he was going to do it to Steel, and then Steamboat made his comeback after being out for a couple weeks or whatever. Like, how cool that I was young. I was totally stoked and into it. And then they went on and had the best match I've ever seen at a WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean, these are so hard. And I think it also depends on how old, who you're talking to. I mean, obviously we're on the older end of the spectrum of people, so we can remember, like the Ivan Putskys, but like, the younger generation, it's like, oh my gosh, I mean, the Stone Cold Stunner, that is the greatest finisher of all time.
I have a hard time loving it. I'll tell you this, I think it's the most oversold finisher of all time.
Oh yeah. Oh, big time.
Right. Oh, this is so simple, but it was so amazing to watch. The Avalanche by King Kong Bundy. Do you remember when he beat the guy in like, was it like 7 seconds or something?
It was,
and he would always make the ref count to 5. I want 5. And he would just get 2 more counts in there because the guy's out cold.
Just because he could.
Yeah, it was so great.
But it was simple, but it was great. It was perfect.
Right. And I think, the kid says, hey, it makes me sad that finishers aren't sacred anymore. We're in the same, I'm with you on that. I think
I agree.
The worst thing that happened was, well, we've got to outdo the last thing that we saw. And so nothing simple is a finisher anymore because everything has to be unreal. And by the way, do you think that maybe that's why some of your favorite wrestlers today get injured more than we remember old school wrestlers getting injured? Because they're trying to do backflips off the top of cages and like, what the heck?
I think, and again, I don't want to sound like a crotchety old bastard, but I think, the more over the top, and I'm not talking about the third best Sylvester Stallone movie, which is a whole nother conversation.
Oh, we'll have that one another time.
But no, I think the more over the top that, wrestlers go, that's what they think is gonna, that's where they're gonna get the biggest pop, and that's where, that's what they're looking for. But yeah, I think that's why a lot of these guys are getting hurt more often.
So,
and really quick, I also don't think that they're, I think a lot of these guys aren't as seasoned or experienced as some of these guys were back in the day too. So
I think that's fair. I remember being really impressed when I watched the Minnesota Wrecking Crew wrestle in the NWA. And I remember thinking, I can see the psychology of the match. They've spent the last 10 minutes doing 14 different moves that hurt the guy's shoulder. Like, I know what's coming, right? They're gonna submit him on his shoulder. And you don't see that kind of storytelling in the match anymore, right? Because the spot's going to be so big. Why would he ever submit to a chicken wing? Because they gave him 17 shoulder breakers, and you can see where the end is leading you to. And then if it's an upset, if it doesn't land there, there's the suspense and the shock and the surprise. You didn't actually have to climb up in the rafters and do a quadruple 1080 backflip onto him.
No. no. And to your point, like watching some of those matches, I mean, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit
Yeah,
going at it together. You want to that I mean,
it's
I
hard to
have my
get better
own.
than that.
Yeah, you can't technically, like, you can't get any better. You look at that and you're just like, holy crap, that's some serious stuff.
And I think that's one of those things. If you think about, and maybe there's somebody, and I'm just not interested enough in some of the performances I'm seeing right now, but that weak heel play, Eddie didn't have to play weak, but he did. Rick didn't have to play weak, but he did. When's the last time you saw a champion just slide out of the ring in the middle of the match, take his belt, and start walking away, and legitimately believe like he's not going to come back? This bastard's going to screw me. I was here to see him lose. Like, they both did that weak play so well.
And
I miss that stuff.
I think also, to their credit, I think only they could pull it off.
Right. That's part of it for sure. Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
I don't want to run out of time. Let's throw them the one they're not waiting for, the thing they didn't think we were going to talk about. Your top 5 favorite TNT original movies.
So should we give like a little bit of backstory?
Yeah, we should give the
behind
background
this?
on this. Yeah.
Do you want it? You're host. You go ahead.
No, you give the background. This is really your background.
Okay, so back in the day, kids, when I was a young lad. So before I became a teacher, great move, idiot. I worked in advertising, and I worked for TNT, WCW, which was the coolest thing in the world.
Right.
So, and I think it was around that time where I think we met, and Jeff is a closet TNT original fanatic.
Love that stuff.
So, and I remember, and I'll say the first of the 5 best TNT originals because it's the elephant in the room. We did a TNT original on the famous comic Witchblade, and I found out that you were like, oh my gosh, can you please get me a copy of this? This is the greatest thing I've seen since E.T. Oh my gosh, screw you, Star Wars. Witchblade is the greatest movie ever made.
That might be the best impersonation of me I've ever seen.
Thank you. I've been trust me, I've worked it for many, many years. So case in point, so that was, so TNT was known for creating all of these original movies. Some of them were absolutely horrible. Some of them were pretty awesome. So my top 5. Okay. Obviously Witchblade is one. In 1999, TNT did an original movie of Animal Farm. And I thought it was pretty amazing.
All right.
It was weird. I mean, it's one of my favorite books. No, I'm not a communist, so don't start the conversations, kids.
I mean,
but, well, that's for another.
You left the world of advertising to be a teacher, aren't you?
Next question, please. Sorry, is this still on? So anyway, so we have Witchblade, we have Animal Farm. Also, and again, this is another one of Jeff's absolute favorite TNT originals. There was a series, The Librarian.
Loved it. Still love it.
Which who's it? Noah Wiley, I think, right?
Yeah, Noah Wiley. That's right.
Yeah, he was like a librarian, but he was like, it was like a Indiana Jonesy kind of, like it was like a C-list Indiana Jones.
That's right. And it was so much fun.
It was fun. It was so fun. So that's that. As a teacher, we did the Ron Clark story, which is an original about the famous teacher Ron Clark. He was this idealistic teacher. He left his little hometown to teach in a New York City public school, and he had those rough, tough students, and he changed their lives. So I know that did not make me want to become a teacher, but I did love that. And the last one, I'm a huge Stephen King fan, and we did a mini series on Salem's Lot, which it was awesome. It was, and I was very worried. I was like, if you guys fuck this up, I'm quitting. They're like, we don't care.
Yeah, quit.
Yeah, go ahead, Benny, quit. We don't care. Go ahead, put it up on Netscape and let everyone know in our, what? Anyway, yeah, so those are my 5 teens. I think we lost all of our viewers on this last conversation, but
So here's the thing.
Axel, hold on. Axel just wrote in the comments, $1 for the Dead. Yeah, that was a TNT original. It kind of sucked, but whatever.
I don't think I can leave this and wrap up without pointing out, because I think this is our biggest TNT conversation ever. Do you remember it? TNT passed on Heroes. Do you remember sending me this and going, you'll never believe this shit they just passed on. You'd love it. And then it gets picked up the next year and turns into a worldwide phenomenon.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you remember. I remember it now. And as soon as I heard it, I told 3 people, because I only knew 3 people who loved like comics, and my best friend who's a total and I'm like, oh my, I gotta tell Jeff. And I remember telling you.
Yeah.
I was so mad. And I remember, oh my gosh, I remember we had a staff meeting, and they kind of opened like, anyone have anything? And I'm like, yeah, I got something to say. Listen, you fucking ass jacks, I can't believe that you passed up on this hero show. And they're like, it's not really gonna take. Yeah. Great
Good
job,
call.
idiots.
Yeah.
Good call.
Well done.
Dummies.
That's when you decided it's time to be a teacher. There's no future here.
Yeah. And I quit. Benny quit.
You really did.
I posted on the TNT forum and I said, screw you guys.
I'm out.
I'm out. And that was it.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're going to come back and nerd out on some wrestling again another time, because that was super fun. I'm glad that you were here to do this. We have all the live chat's been spinning through, and we're having such a good chat. I'm sure I missed a ton of things that we could have picked up on. I will say this. I did put in, I know some of you saw, Royal Ryan Scott was supposed to join us, but he couldn't be bothered. So maybe next time. And until then, my appreciation to Shreddy Mercury for coming out, to all of you for being on the live chat. Everybody have an awesome weekend, and get your asses to the board and do something so that I have a reason to post. All right. We'll see everybody next time.
Bye, everyone.
See you, man.